It's wonderful to be here on this exciting day. Today marks a new dawn for Alberta, for Canada, and for the federation that binds us together into one great nation. Canadians take pride in the fact that our nation is a mosaic and not a melting pot, both culturally and in terms of our government. Canada's provinces and territories are part of a larger whole, but are not subordinate to it. As Albertans, we love our Canada deeply. This is our home, and we are honoured to be contributing members. But the way Ottawa has treated the province, most especially Alberta, is unacceptable. Albertans are demanding action to restore a relationship that respects Alberta's sovereign areas of provincial jurisdiction as defined by the Constitution. The Canadian Constitution was intended to create a respectful union where the provinces would have their own areas of jurisdiction, free from interference, with autonomy over the laws and policies within their provinces' own spheres of influence. Yet this nation has not always operated smoothly. Over the years, there have been a shamefully large number of missed opportunities for shared growth and prosperity between the provinces and the federal government. In particular, a long and painful history of mistreatment and constitutional overreach from Ottawa has for decades caused tremendous frustration for Albertans. In response, we are finally telling the federal government, no more. It's time to stand up for Alberta. Bill 1, the Alberta Sovereignty Within a United Canada Act, is a first step in standing up for Albertans and pushing Ottawa back into its own lane. When passed, this legislation will create a constitutional legal framework for Alberta to push back against federal interference and encroachment. The federal government is actively attempting to landlock our natural resources, penalize our energy and agriculture producers, cut fertilizer use, control the delivery of health, education, childcare, and other social programs with strings-attached funding, and confiscate legally owned firearms. And that's just a few examples. The framework provided under the Act will allow Alberta's Legislative Assembly to identify constitutional concerns with a specific federal program or piece of legislation, and then recommend a measured and appropriate response to prevent or frustrate that federal intrusion. Our province will not enforce unconstitutional or harmful Ottawa policies or laws in Alberta. Albertans come first, always. Importantly, this Act fully respects Indigenous and treaty rights, the Constitution, court decisions, and does not force private citizens or companies to do anything contrary to federal law or policy. It's intended to be fully democratic and transparent. Each proposed use of the Act will require a special motion to be passed in the Legislative Assembly, which will be subject to open discussion, examination, and review. This framework is both a useful tool and a call to action. It is intended to be used selectively, thoughtfully, and towards the goal of fighting federal initiatives which would harm our province, our people, and our prosperity. We expect to table a number of special motions under this Act in the upcoming spring legislative session, dealing with the examples of federal overreach that I just mentioned earlier. Let it be clear, nothing in this bill involves separation, nor does it provide a means to accomplish such ends. Rather, it is a way for this great province to hold the federal government accountable to the constitutional principles that serve as the very foundation of our country's governance. We are proud Canadians, and we are committed to building a strong and united Canada, but we cannot do that from a position of weakness. We must do that from a position of strength that the principles of our Constitution have provided us. Alberta and Canada are both worth fighting for, and that fight is with an out-of-control federal government in Ottawa that sees Alberta and all provinces as its subordinate rather than its partner. We must push back and take a stand. We must protect the rights of Albertans and our great province, and we must stand up for what is right. Thank you, and I now invite the Justice Minister to speak.